Welcome back to another episode of Britt and Nick Do the News. Easter was this past Sunday and it happened to fall on the famous stoner holiday, 420. Hopefully, not everyone was getting high on their Easter basket grass. Did you do anything exciting, Brittany? I know you were down in North Carolina. You didn't really spend it with family, but I'm sure you still had a great time.
Yes, I did. It was low key. It was just me, my husband, and my stepson. But we went to church and it was a very beautiful service. And I did not indulge in any grass or anything like that, but that's all goody. Maybe next Easter or the following one. Who knows? I was taking a break for Lent, but I decided to keep rolling with it because I was paranoid as hell. I didn't want to send myself down the shaky plank.
Okay. Yeah, I spent it with family and we had a great time. But I'm trying to keep it low key as well because this coming Saturday, I do have a bike race. It's called Bikes and Beers, and I'm doing 30 miles with hills, y'all. And I'm a little nervous because I've only gotten on my bike twice this season. And both times I did do 26 miles on the C&O Canal. But, hills is a different animal. And so I am a little concerned. But yes, let's jump right into it.
Pope Francis. That's right, you guys. Pope Francis has passed on at age 88 and just one day after Easter Sunday. The Pope died on April 21st, 2025 at the St. Martha House located within the Vatican City, which is also the town with the lowest birth rate. LOL. We can obviously conclude as to why, though. But as for why the Pope passed away, Dr. Angela Arcangeli explained that he had a stroke followed by a coma and then had an irreversible cardiocirculatory collapse. This news comes after many had already known that Pope Francis was in poor health. He had been hospitalized back in February for bronchitis that had turned into bilateral pneumonia. Though there are many explanations as to why this great man went to join the Father in heaven, many joke that it happened to be on the heels of meeting J.D. Vance. Mr. Vance was in Europe and visited many places, and unfortunately for the Pope, many people as well. Apparently, even his final words to Francis were, "I know you haven't been feeling great, but it is good to see you in better health. Thank you for seeing me." Which seems nice enough, but dang, the part about better health really seems the awkward piece of that verbiage. As Pope Francis was also a critic for the Trump administration and their routes taken for deportation, the vice pres was trying to extend an olive branch and put the past behind them, which, as it turns out, would actually be the final pass. JD converted to Catholicism in 2019, which I know made the Pope's heart happy, but in the end, it was his heart that could not beat any longer. Many joke about the fact that the Pope has lived through the Nazis' reign, several battles and wars, illnesses, and much, much more, including social changes, as well as climate changes, economic concerns, and of course, the ongoing debate on whether or not the death penalty should be used. Vance has met with many criticisms as well, but so has Pope Francis. Many mocked him for being more progressive and inclusive, as he had said statements like, being gay is not a crime, and he has openly condemned punishments for LGBTQ relationships. He has also called for the church to become a more welcoming place for this community, as well as implored others to treat members of this community with respect and compassion. The Pope has also said that the LGBTQ people are children of God and that God loves them as they are. Hey, listen, regardless of our personal thoughts and feelings about the Pope and his statements, he was indeed a wonderful, inclusive, and kind man. He dedicated his life to the cloth and gained respect globally. He did many amazing things throughout his time as Pope. In fact, I can recall when he was gifted a custom Lamborghini back in 2017, which was designed to represent the colors of the Vatican flag. And instead of keeping it, what would he do with it? Real talk. He blessed it, of course, signed it, naturally, and auctioned it off for nearly $1 million, where he donated all of the proceeds to a variety of worthy charities. Well, God bless him and everything that he has accomplished. Rest in peace, sir.
With the passing of Pope Francis, people are bringing up the book Prophecy of the Popes, which was published in 1595 by Benedictine monk Arnold Wyan. Supposedly, it mentions that the next pope, Peter the Roman, will be the last, and that the end of days is predicted for 2027. According to Reuters, 3 of the 9 frontrunners set to succeed Pope Francis have the name Peter. Some are even interpreting that Pope Francis was the last predicted pope, and that the final pope would be confronted by the Antichrist before his last days, which just so happened to be J.D. Vance. Now, I don't think we should give J.D. Vance that much credit. Just an unfortunate coincidence. Also coincidence, after J.D. Vance visited India, 26 people and dozens of others were injured in an attack aimed at tourists on Tuesday in the town of Kashmir. The attack is being described as the worst assault targeting civilians in the region in years.
That warlock is killing everyone he can. Just kidding, you guys. Obviously the Pope was in poor health, and there's lots of strife that goes around in third world countries. So, of course, this is not necessarily to be blamed on him, but it just happens to be very comedically relieving. Well, even though it's kind of funny to talk about people murking folks, even if he didn't, it's kind of a time to take it a little serious. Colin Farrell, the star of one of my all-time favorite shows, The Penguin, has made a tough but meaningful decision for his son, James, who is 21 and has Angelman syndrome. Angelman syndrome is a genetic disorder where children are diagnosed around 6 to 12 months as they do not hit the traditional developmental milestones as their peers would. The characteristics of this syndrome include intellectual disabilities, developmental delays, and usually include seizures and speech issues. Mr. Farrell and his ex, Kim Bordenov, decided that this would be the best course of action for their son in case they both happen to pass on around a similar time to one another. They want their son to be in a happy and safe environment, so they made the choice to place him in a long-term care facility. In 2024, Colin created the Colin Farrell Foundation, whose goal is to provide support for adult children with intellectual disabilities. Yeah, these kind of decisions are not taken lightly, you guys. And personally, I understand the need to know that your child will continue to be cared for and monitored, even if you pass on from the earth. And to be honest, that's for any child. That doesn't have to be someone that has developmental delays or any sort of disabilities. This is for any child. So please make sure to protect your children after you pass away. Put safeguards in place. So, I get it.
Normally I'm not a fan of people airing their business out for the general public, but I think on a matter like this, it takes a big man like Colin Farrell to just kind of bring an issue to light that many people should consider when it comes to their kids. So good for him, and good for you for bringing us this story. All right. China is incorporating teaching AI in schools as young as 6 years old, starting September 2025. The Trump administration is also supposedly jumping on board with AI in schools, possibly ensuing an executive order that would in turn create a policy of integrating AI in primary school. Children under this draft order, obtained by the Washington Post, would enforce taking steps to train students in using AI and incorporate it into teaching-related tasks. Both countries seem to be making the same moves to ensure that they are the global leader in this technological revolution. In other AI news, China held a half marathon where humanoid robots ran alongside humans to compete. Now, these robots were separated from the human racers and competed against each other, supported by human navigators, operators, and engineers, having their own tailored guidelines, including pit stops where they could swap out batteries. The winner was Tian Kung Ultra, who finished in 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds. The average half marathon ran by humans can span anywhere from elite runners at 1 hour and 10 minutes to the average time for an intermediate runner of a little under 2 hours. Another blip on the radar is the development of tools that could potentially translate and interpret our pets' behaviors and sounds. Using tools to analyze data sets to decode dog barks, distinguishing between playful and aggressive across breeds. Several projects are underway, some companies even developing collars with microphones and speakers for immediate feedback to owners of their pets' needs.
Hey, that's actually pretty cool. As far as the running people / robots is concerned, I don't really find that to be very necessary, but finding out whether your dog's aggressive or not, or if it's happy, sad, I feel like that could really be beneficial to a lot of folks, all pet owners and people that don't even own pets alike. You know what I always find a little bit comical, though? In any other foreign language, they'll be saying, whatever they're saying in their language. And then it's all of a sudden like ultra or like McDonald's. Like, it's just so funny to me. I know it shouldn't be, but it's like Walmart.
Yeah, they got to get that sponsored ad in there. And I'm all cool about the talking collars. And as long as the dogs aren't talking back to me, I get enough sass from my kid. I don't need my dog running his mouth.
Hey, look, I feel that. It was all a dream. Actually, scratch that. It was all like a fever dream. That is what one of the two German tourists was reported as saying after her and her pal were strip searched, imprisoned, and then kicked out of the country. Yes, y'all, Charlotte Pohl and her friend Maria Lepere were visiting from Germany after recently graduating high school. They decided to take a fun trip, or so they thought, to America as a present before beginning college. On March 18th, 2025, they landed in Hawaii after a flight brought them over from New Zealand. Well, once they had arrived, they were interrogated, investigated to the fullest extent. Yeah, the agents were questioning their plans and asked them where they would be staying once within the U.S. The girls were telling them that pretty much they'd only booked 2 nights at an Airbnb because they kind of wanted to leave their plans open and flexible, almost like a mini exploration, I suppose. Well, as you can imagine, the immigration officers did not like this one bit. The answers were not flying with them. The ladies had claimed that they sometimes did freelance work online, but did not currently have any customers within America. So, whoopsie daisies, seems simple enough, but no. What these 2 young girls went through was nothing short of terrifying. Pohl and Lepere were taken to a detention facility where they were strip searched, threatened, and forced to put on green prison uniforms as they were held at the jail site. Yes, unfortunately, the grads had said that the facility was freezing cold and that they were forced to get completely naked, including squatting and spreading, a technique often only used at the OBGYN's office, not traditionally what you would expect for a tourist to complete for a graduation trip. Wowzers. Yeah, they had explained that they had already noticed a little bit of what was going on with ICE in the U.S., but at the time, we didn't think it was happening to Germans. That was perhaps very naive. We felt so small and powerless. I mean, regardless, was the treatment of these poor girls necessary? Also, are we not slated to host the next Olympics in 2028? What sort of taste will this leave in people's mouths? Will they want to come to the U.S. with potentials for this type of thing to happen? To be honest, I sure wouldn't.
ICE is out there and snatching people up. That's right. Philadelphia and Chicago are canceling some of their Cinco de Mayo celebrations because of the uptick in ICE activity. Even individuals who aren't ICE are dressing up and pretending to be. Let's take this Florida woman named LaTrance Battle, age 52, mind you. She put on a fake shirt, had a radio, and a business card just to arrest her ex's girlfriend. The lengths people will go to get back at their ex.
Holy balls. LaTrance or under a trance? Girl, you are nuttier than a dang chipmunk's droppings, okay? That is some wild stuff. But you know what? It is always some crazy ex that be coming up with the wildest stuff to try to do, and never really to the ex. It's always to their current partner. Like, relax, Bia. He doesn't want you. And honestly, for good reason. You're crazy. In weather-esque type of news, you guys know Earth Day recently passed, and I suppose the Milky Way wanted to get in on a celebration as well. On Friday, April 25th, the sky will say hi with a smile. NASA, along with astronomers from UC Berkeley, say that this planetary alignment occurs only once every couple of decades. This stellar formation is called a triple conjunction, as 2 planets, Venus and Saturn, plus the 1 moon, will align to create what will appear to be a smiley face. Aw, so cute. According to the experts, one won't even need a telescope or any additional tech. Just a view that is clear and some excitement, my dear.
Sky gazers can catch us around 5 a.m. their local time, and you can also catch Venus at its greatest brilliancy on April 27th and on April 29th. You can see Venus, Saturn, Mercury, and Neptune all appear together at once. All this action out in the cosmos is making me think that we should have gotten a telescope by now, Britt.
I technically have one, but I think it's like the lowest rung brand, and I don't really know how to operate it, so I can't ever see nothing.
Also, weather related esque news. A 19-year-old Joseph Kling has been arrested for arson after a southern New Jersey wildfire has torched more than 15,000 acres and caused around 5,000 evacuations. This fire started when Kling improperly extinguished a bonfire after burning wooden pallets and leaving the scene. It was reported Tuesday that the fire was 50% contained, but it continues to still burn and could end up being New Jersey's worst wildfire in up to 20 years. You know about them wildfires, right, Brittany? You know, ones that you start in your backyard burning extra wood.
You know, it's the truth. Really, people really have to be a lot more safe with burning fires in their backyard. It happened to us. Luckily, no one got hurt. It didn't touch any homes or anything. We caught it in time, but the grass was dry and we had put a fire into our little pit. And I guess the wind blew and yeah, it got away from us. So luckily, as I said earlier, we got it to get put out. But everyone, please be cautious because once again, it could start a whole wildfire in the entire community, the worst in a state's history. So don't be the one. I know Smokey the Bear hasn't got much funding behind himself anymore, but please, only you can prevent forest fires. I know we've been talking about some hot burning stuff, but on a cooler note, Wendy's is coming out with Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. Yes, y'all, these are hitting the market and believe that they will be a good competition against Dairy Queen Blizzards as well as Mickey D's McFlurries. These swirls, or at least the swirl options, feature a choice of strawberry, caramel, or brownie batter sauce. The fusions include mix-ins, so definitely hitting up that McFlurry jazz, like Oreo pieces, Pop-Tarts. Okay, they got me with that one. I ain't heard of that one so far, so good on Wendy's. Or toffee pieces. I cannot wait to try, and what a perfect time for them to hit the scene because it is heating up outside.
Yes, no, I love a good beverage. And speaking of which, Tim Hortons is coming to Maryland, everyone. This Canadian coffee and fast food chain was founded in 1964 by NHL player Tim Horton. It will be opening 10 locations in my state with initial sites in Howard and Carroll counties. This chain, known for its coffee, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches, has 5,700 locations worldwide and brought in $4 billion in revenue in 2024. You know who else is bringing in the revenue these days? I was shocked to read that Shaquille O'Neal has his hands on several different franchises. Time Investors reported that Shaq once owned 155 Five Guys, 17 Auntie Anne's, 150 car washes, 40 gyms, and a movie theater. This athlete's portfolio is flush to say the least. Speaking of flushes, his recent incident on a live broadcast had him running off air to use the bathroom immediately. The ordeal has adult diaper companies lining up with free product, but most likely to get their name out there and maybe even a brand deal. Who knows? Can you imagine Shaq on air and releasing a load in his pants on live TV?
Yes.
I would probably tune in just to see the reactions of his co-stars. Hot damn.
Been there.
Totally.
Been there. I always say if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will happen to you in the future. So go off.
Yeah, everyone's always like, yeah, everyone's pooped their pants. And I remember screaming at them, no, I haven't. But then we all have. We were babies at one point. So let's remember that. In other food news, McDonald's is bringing back the McCrispy strips next week, April 29th, and pairing it with their new creamy chili sauce. It is believed that their snack wrap was held up so that they could hard launch their new tenders, so we could probably see one of our favorite items back on the menu soon. Speaking of chicken, Buffalo Wild Wings is bringing back their all-you-can-eat wings at $19.99. How many wings do you think you could eat, Brittany? Let's go with some bone-in. How many?
20.
I think I could down maybe 30. Eek.
You better say that stuff, girl, and roll film while you do.
Maybe we should do it. Have a challenge, have an eat off.
Why not?
Sounds like fun to me. In movie news, for all my millennials out there, the new trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer has dropped, and I cannot wait. We finally get the sequel we've all been waiting for. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt are reprising their roles, and we cannot wait.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. I used to love those movies back in the day, so I'm ready. I want to see it.
Sinners is making headlines after its release last weekend, bringing in $45 million from Thursday afternoon through Sunday in North America, topping the box office last weekend. It is said that it's the only horror movie in 35 years to receive an A cinema score, which for those who don't know, a cinema score is a measure of how well a movie's marketing and overall experience resonate with its target demographic. This movie is getting notable glory for writer and director Ryan Coogler, who may have started a trend for cracking the system of studio movies. He negotiated a deal to fund his vision with $90 million, negotiated a deal to receive a portion of the profits from the moment the release happened, and have full ownership of rights for 25 years, which is largely unheard of. For those of you who want to see the American Horror, it stars Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan, where two twin brothers return to the Mississippi Delta in 1932 in hopes to start a juke joint after spending years involved in organized crime, only to discover the presence of a local vampire clan and the existing racial tension that ensues.
Oof, yes, ma'am. Speaking of tension, Variety magazine has gotten a variety of insults hurled at them after their most recent dig at the newest film. It's received some shade. For why? Yeah, others believe that it is something to do with literal shade, as in the shade of their skin. Many have come to the defense of these guys, which is not only awesome, it makes total and complete sense. The Variety Post reads as follows. Sinners has amassed 61 million in its global debut. It is a great result for an original R-rated horror film, yet the Warner Brothers release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses, so profitability remains a ways away. Sounds to me like it's a little bit of a tip of the hat, wag of the finger, as the outlet admits that they are making good money, but still just throwing that wee bit of criticism. Well, other actors, directors, and even common folk like us took notice and then made some notes on none other, of course, than the smack talking on X, formerly known / only known, if you have to say it every time, Twitter. Ben Stiller retweeted this original mag blurb with his own quote. In what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio movie warrant this headline? Comedian and actress Kristen Shaw responded to Stiller's X post saying, no one will write anything without a negative spin anymore, even when everyone should be happy. Well, several others chimed in, but y'all look it up online and read them for yourselves. There are tons, and they're all pretty hilarious, to be honest. The shade is being thrown.
Yes, I would say so. All right, now it's time for that quick fire round, everyone's favorite portion of the show, or, at least mine. The average height of Dutchmen is 6 foot, making them the tallest men globally. This is attributed to the nation's blend of genetics, healthcare, and nutrition, with significant increase in height due to the improvements in living standards. So, ladies, we all know how height matters. So, go to the Netherlands and grab you a Dutchman today.
Hey, have y'all up there ever had the love and loyalty of a beloved pet? Well, I'm sure you have, but would you think that the animal's love would continue on even after your passing? That is what occurred in a small town in Italy. A feline named Toldo gained lots of attention for his continued love and devotion to his owner, even after his cat dad, Renzo Izzoli, passed away in 2011. Toldo the kitty would stop by Izzoli's grave every day for over a year. This little guy was so kind and endearing that he even brought tokens of affection when he would stop by. Now, of course, he didn't purchase any edible arrangements or anything like that, but this fellow would bring scraps of paper, a variety of twigs, and even bits of plastic in honor of his late owner. If that isn't true love and respect, I don't know what is.
That's a cute story, Britt, but I have one that trumps yours. There's
Ooh.
a penguin that swims 5,000 miles every year to be reunited with the man who saved its life. Also in 2011, 71-year-old Zhao Pereira de Souza cleaned oil off of the penguin's feathers, nurtured it back to health, and named it Dim Dim before releasing it on a nearby island after a week of rehab. After dropping it off, the penguin returned that day to their backyard and stayed for 11 months. After shedding all its feathers, it left but returns every summer and departs in February during migration season to Patagonia.
Oh my gosh, that is adorable. And though the guy nicknamed him Dim Dim, he sounds pretty bright to be able to keep that up for several years running. So swim on, little buddy. It isn't like we needed another reason to indulge in confectionery delight, but recent studies have granted us another reason regardless. Loma Linda University in California suggests that consuming dark chocolate while studying can help students retain more knowledge. This study shows that nibbling on a little bit of chocolate can help memory, increase cognitive function, as well as assist in focusing. The reason being that the flavonoids found in cocoa improve blood flow to the cerebrum, which in turn makes information retention better. So, who knew that a tasty treat can help raise test scores as well as aid in quicker recollection? Well, now we all do.
Speaking of treats, Health Secretary RFK plans to phase out 8 petroleum-based artificial food dyes from the U.S. market. At the beginning of the year, the FDA announced a future ban on Red 3, citing cancer found in animal studies. I even saw Megyn Kelly on TV going on about how she was baking a cake for her daughter's birthday and icing it down with the words before reading the label and making a remark that she was giving cancer to her daughter on her 14th birthday. Yeah, so maybe no words on the cake there, Megan.
It's not like she could spell anyway. Have y'all heard of this new and earth-friendly technique of using bioreceptive concrete that motivates moss to grow? Apparently, a startup company called Wildfire, based in the Netherlands, created living concrete that doesn't require irrigation procedures, soil, or lots of maintenance as other green walls do. Yet, it still offers the benefits of cleaner air. The moss that grows captures particles and CO2, which helps purify the air, but it also assists in cooling it down and regulating the temperature, which in large urban jungles, the heat is higher due to all the buildings and cement. Insects and microorganisms can also live and thrive within the moss, making Mother Earth even happier. And since Earth Day just occurred, it should be at the top of our brains and at the center of our hearts.
Aw. The Washington Post came out with a story about scientists dosing Atlantic salmon with anti-anxiety drug clobazam, meant only for humans. The drug made the fish more independent, faster, and take more risks, but skepticism is held on the long-term effects. Experiments came about with the consideration that 4 out of 5 salmon are estimated to not make it through migration of fresh water to spawn, specifically in central Sweden to the Baltic Sea.
Let's get rid of food dyes. Great. Awesome. But let's add antipsychotic or anti-anxiety medication to wild salmon. They really pissing against the tide with some of this stuff. But let's kick it old school with some kid classics. Back when it was safer, or so we used to believe. Pocahontas and The Lion King were both created somewhat concurrently, with The Lion King being released in 94, a great year, and Pocahontas in 1995. Also a ballerific year. At the time, Disney execs decided to put the A-team on duty for Pocahontas, as it was believed it would garner more success due to historical value and a more elaborate narrative. Thus, the quote-unquote B-team was assigned to create animation for The Lion King. Not to say that Pocahontas wasn't a fantastic film, because it was. And it made money. But The Lion King grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide, and it is still considered to be one of Disney's most legendary films. Pocahontas drummed up $346 million, which is great, but it was still $642,389,000 less than its peer movie. In fact, the Lion King franchise has done spectacularly nationwide and abroad. The franchise has earned over $6.2 billion worldwide, as this includes stage productions, the 1994 film, as well as the 2019 recreation.
Dude, that's a hard pick if I had to pick which one I thought was better or which one I liked more. They both have amazing songs, and we love karaoke. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Lion King. It was the first one I ever saw in theaters, and I bawled my eyes out. So, needless to say, it's a core memory for me. So, I would go with Lion King being the better movie.
Same exact. I'm sorry. Those hyenas were freaking hilarious to me. Lion King wins, but still got to show love for Pocahontas.
Oh, definitely. John Smith was hot. Select regions in the United States have released genetically modified mosquitoes to help combat the spread of disease like Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. UK-based biotech company Oxitec developed this male mosquito to carry a self-limiting gene that prevents their female offspring responsible for transmitting diseases with their bite from surviving to adulthood. The release follows years of controlled trials and regulatory approvals to help as an alternative to using harmful chemicals to control these pests and their diseases.
Oh, God, I hate mosquitoes. I swear they're the worst animal alive. I don't care. They're nasty, disgusting. I know they're very small, but they are still freaking deadly, and I want them gone.
I was curious with this story how it would make you feel because I know you hate the bugs. And I remember last year we were going on and on about the cicadas, which you're saying there's another bout coming our way in Maryland. And I'm like, yeah, right. We'll believe it when we see it, or hear it.
Oh, that part. And speaking of that part, Easter just passed, and I told some pals that if they tuned in, we would plug in some Easter eggs. So here they are. We're just going to reveal a few bits of information about ourselves, but only you would know if you listen to it. So we're going to say our favorite color, our middle name, and actually we'll just keep it there. Keep it simple. So my favorite color is turquoise, and my middle name is Elizabeth.
Well, my middle name is Catherine, after my grandma, who we used to call Grandma Koozie. Shout out, RIP. And my favorite color is green.
Ooh, yes. Love it. So those were them eggs, y'all. Let's go into the Dear Abby type stuff.
Oh, yes. Well, we have a quick little game that kind of pairs with, the whole dating scene. Women most recently ranked the worst date spots. Now, Brittany, I need you to give me a couple guesses of which locations you think they don't want to go.
Oh, gosh. I know that Applebee's is jokingly always referred to as Crapplebee's. So I know Applebee's is going to be on there.
Yep. So Applebee's is number 2. You are correct.
Ooh, only number 2.
Yeah, only number. Well, I mean, it's not the top, but it's the second worst. But I mean, who doesn't like a dollar margarita? I feel like you could easily get hammered, and you know what? He's picking up the bill, and he won't give you a complaint if you don't give him any for picking up the tab.
Golly, I'm trying to wrap my brain, but I'm thinking maybe it's just somewhere like fast food, like McDonald's or something.
Not on the list.
Dang.
Who's taking their girl to McDonald's for a first date? I mean, that's a quick pick me up when you've been dating after a year or so. But yeah, no, thank goodness that's not even on the list.
True. Oh, wow. And it's a restaurant?
Yeah. Do you want me to give you a hint? I think you did a story maybe last year on the pod where this woman threw a fit because her boyfriend brought her to this facility, and this facility has like literally 1,000 items on the menu.
Golden Corral.
No, and that's not it. That's not it.
Oh man, it was the Cheesecake Factory.
Yes, Cheesecake Factory. So that's number 1. And I'm like,
what?
Is it really that bad? You have so many options. And I mean, he's taking you to a restaurant. Brittany mentioned a McDonald's. I think the Cheesecake Factory has like way better than that.
Yeah, at least they have booze options. Oh my gosh, people are getting way too picky. Also, it's a first date, boo-boo. He doesn't owe you anything yet.
Nope. So do you have any other guesses? We got 3 more answers.
Oofda doofda. Is Pizza Hut one?
No.
I love Pizza Hut. I'd be pissed if they put that on there.
I mean, it'd be weird. I mean, especially if it wasn't that lunchtime buffet that they used to have back in the day. We used to love that. And actually, I think you might have said it, but kale was actually like purchased the most out of any restaurant by Pizza Hut because of their buffet. They stacked the line with the kale everywhere. So, good little fact.
Heard. Well, okay. What about Ruby Tuesday?
Nope, not Ruby Tuesday.
Dang. How about Chili's?
Yep, you know what? That's number three, chili. So good job, Brittany. And I can't understand it, especially these days. The people that are eating food in cars, they love those buffalo mozzarella sticks because they got that cheese pull. And honestly, I love myself at Chili's. I would honestly not mind being brought there on the first date because many options and they're all tasty.
For certain. Golly, these broads are super picky.
Hmm?
But maybe let me think. TGI Fridays, is that another one?
Nope, we only have two remaining.
Oofda doofda. I don't even know, girl, because all of these are acceptable to me. In fact, the one I said, Golden Corral, would be the one where I kind of like, eh. But even then, I mean, if you're on the way over, just tell someone, hey, I don't prefer that. Can we go to Pizza Hut instead?
You can always suggest something else if you're that turned off. Well, I'm going to give you a couple hints on the last two. All right. The one is, I would say, fast Mexican. Fast.
Taco Bell.
Well, less fast. You have to stand in a line. That's probably out the door.
I'm drawing an entire blank.
A Mexican restaurant that you have to stand in a line for. And there's
like a taco truck?
No, it's a restaurant. All right, I'm jumping in. Chipotle, girl. Chipotle.
Oh, well, dang. I don't know. When they canceled McDonald's, I was only thinking places where they had a server at this point. So you're right. You're right. I apologize. I was not going there though. But Chipotle, I mean, I know they've been really chintzy with their sizing, but you ladies are being chintzy with your choices, like for real. Open up your options. So now there's one left, huh?
One left. Now I'll say it categorizes as Italian.
Olive Garden.
Yeah, I was going to say while you're there, you're family. And I guess if you're trying to date the dude, you don't want to be with family. So yes, Olive Garden, endless salad and breadsticks, y'all. And it's not turning the ladies on.
Dang, I don't know. It turns me on. I love their minestrone soup and I freaking love the breadsticks, the salad. I mean, the pasta, I know that's their main gig and it's pretty midi city, but let's be honest, like, who the hell cares? You're getting food. And I'm assuming this is free food, that they're not going Dutch. But speaking of, maybe would Dutch Brothers be a problem? Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons actually has the crunchiest sprinkles I've ever tasted. You know how you get donuts with sprinkles on them and they kind of almost feel a little mushy? Mm-hmm. Not a big deal. I ain't complaining because I'm not a complainer when it comes to food, but Tim Hortons, man, they got that crunch, baby.
Yeah, Brittany's about that crunch. Well, we're going to tie up the show real quick with a quick little date story. We're talking about going on first dates. Well, this one complained about her first date, and you tell me what you think, Brittany. So our first date on Saturday was a beautiful park where we had a picnic, which was very romantic. While getting to know each other, I do feel like I asked all the big questions, and because I don't want to waste my time. I was upfront about how I'm looking for a serious relationship that leads to marriage, and he says he's looking for a potential relationship, but his body language says otherwise. Other than that, we talked about a lot of different topics, and as the date progressed, we kissed. The things I didn't like was that his planning was last minute and he didn't finalize the plans until the morning of. He didn't compliment me at all. He was on the phone several times, walked ahead of me wherever we went, didn't offer to help me with my hands full of stuff, and didn't open the doors for me. He also thought we were going to have sex just because we were making out. At the end of the day, he told me to text him when I got home, which I did, and he responded that he made it home as well, and I responded back. I didn't hear from him yesterday, but he saw my story. Since he didn't text me that day, I assumed he wasn't feeling me, so I removed him from everything this morning and kept it moving. Then he texted me an hour later asking me how was Easter, to which I haven't responded and don't know if I will. I can't stand poor communication, and I'm not saying you have to text every day, all day, but thinking about you or something would be nice, especially after a first date.
I'm not surprised if they're going to get their panties in a bunch over some damn chilies. or freaking Chipotle. So I'm honestly not surprised. I will say I really hate it when people walk ahead of me or really, really slowly behind me. I had an ex-boyfriend that walked super slow behind me. I found it very rude and insulting. Like, what, you ain't trying to walk with me? All right, fine. But I really don't think it's appropriate for meeting someone for the first time to be on your phone the entire time. But then when you're back at the house away from each other, you can barely get on that joint. Like, make that make sense. I saw you with it, so why can't you be on it when we're apart?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was on it the whole time, so I'll come a little bit of slack. But no, you should be 100% invested in the time with whoever you're with, not just on dates, but when you're hanging out with friends as well. For me, I mean, even though it was last minute planning and locking it in, like he did think of the picnic, and that's a cute idea. And it sounds like they did have questions and answers. And sometimes I'm just used to a dude just talking at me and not asking me a damn thing. So he gets a point there. But I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is she's just expecting things from this dude, like when he should text, when he should call. And I know how it goes, and it makes us feel better when we get that reassurance of a text or a call. But I mean, to block them all around and say, let's move on, like this is a first date. Give it a chance or don't. So I would be a little more open to meeting up with him again, especially to see if, hey, he'll walk toe in toe, or he'll stay off his phone, or hey, maybe he'll take me to Chili's and then we're not sitting on the lawn. I don't know. I might give him a chance just because it is rough out there in the streets, but I could hear a girl out a little bit. I just think everybody needs to lower their expectations, especially with anyone who's dating off the apps.
Oh, 100% without question. Also, we're all adults here. Why not just say, hey, I found it kind of rude. You were on your phone a bunch, or you weren't walking side by side with me. Like, just say that stuff. And if it sounds too critical, then maybe there you guys aren't a good fit regardless.
Well said, Brittany. You're totally correct about that. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode of Britt and Nick Do the News. We'll catch you in 2 weeks.
See y'all then.